And the atheist, that's okay. Unless the atheist is going to argue all the time about Eckankar and how no God is better than your God. You know, things like this get old, so, But then it will grow into something that is very deep if you let it. Probably the hardest thing for people to remember during an argument is, whoa. Only one of us should be talking at a time, and one of us should be right at a time. Let the other be right. And this is hard.
Hello, 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 all of my fabulous, beautiful people. And how are you all doing today? I hope that you're all doing very, very well. We are going to, of course, be taking a look at Eck today. Everyone that subbed likes to call it Eck, Eck, Eck. So, we're going to be taking a look at Eck. If you remember, I recently read the book, Is Life a Random Walk? It is one of the older books, one of the longer ones as well. Took me a few different videos to get through it. And when I got to the end of the book, I realized that they had a glossary that was a lot larger than any of the other glossaries I've seen of theirs. It goes through like everything, if you will. So I thought it would be fun if today we went through the glossary and that I would, of course, react to some Harold Klemp because he's the most boring but weirdest and most intriguing at the moment cult leader to me. Hello, Six Drops. Good to see you. Hello, Alves. Hello, Joe. Thank you for being here and for waiting for me because I was a few minutes late. Because my life is just my life is also a random walk. So I found some really great videos of Harold, and I think that we're going to look at one of them before we get into the glossary of terms, which I find very important here. I know some people are kind of like, oh, well, Queen, it's just the glossary of their terms. To me, it's very important what they have as their terms, and then also how they define all of this. It's interesting to me. And I think it's very important to look through. I've been very open about the fact that I do believe Eckankar to be a cult, more so than just a religion. And that is due to it having several things wrong with it on the bite model, along with the weird worship of Harold Klemp. And I've talked about this before about how a lot of times the difference between religion and a cult is, are you praising a god or are you praising a man as God? If you are praising a man, then you might want to check yourself. You could be in a cult. But if you're praising a being in the sky that is God, then you're probably just in a religion. That is one of the first signs. And with this one, Paul really just wanted to be worshipped when he made it. And now Harold here seems to want to take over on everything. So much so that they have actually been doing little videos, if you will, to try to get people to join. And I find that very interesting. we have turned this thing now into I am recruiting you. And that worries me. It worries me a little bit. It also worries me here because people are not speaking out about this cult as much. Not a lot of people are aware of this cult. A lot of people seem to be aware of the religion, but they've never really deep dove it. And when I started to, I went to see, has anyone else talked about this? There are a few videos of some people that have left. There are, of course, a million videos of people that are still in it, but I could not find anyone like me that has like gone through it and deep dove it and been like, is this a fucking cult? So I had to do that. And there is a video that was released here on February 5th of this year that I want you guys to take a look at. It reminds me slightly of a Bill Must production.
Welcome to the Master's Words for February 16th. Today's quote is from The Awakening Soul by Sri Harold Klemp. To master your spiritual destiny, you at least have to be aware of what the 5 passions of the mind are. Any of these passions, lust, anger, greed, attachment, and vanity, are simply just too much of a good thing.
The end goes on like that for another like 10 seconds, but I won't put you through that pain. Was that not creepy? So I guess what's going on right now is Harold Klemp is, of course, releasing his words, and then people are like, it's pre-planned. That was released on February 5th, and as you heard, those were his words for like this week. So that really creeped me out. I was like, what is going on over here? Why are they all of a sudden doing this? This is strange. This is strange. And that really, really did creep me out when I saw it because it, it's it's a lot. It reminds me of Bill Musk, right, from On Passive, but then way more creepy. Anger is too much of a good thing. See, they've made this mistake before. They really have, where they talk about how you don't want too much of a good thing, and then they list off, oh, well, you don't want too much of a good thing, like being mad. And you're like, well, that's not a good thing, though. I don't like being mad. So Harold is also somebody that likes to give people advice on how to live. And one of the things that I find extremely hilarious is that he actually has a whole speech that he did, if you will, at one of his conferences. Because if you don't know, he puts on like conferences. They're very much like MLM conferences. And then he comes out, everybody claps, they're all very happy. It's like he's a motivational speaker. He's the Mahanta, Sri, and they all worship this man. So speaking of how you can't have too much of a good thing and all of that, he actually did an entire conference one time about relationships. And not just relationships, but how to become a magnet for love. And it reminds me of something that Andrew Tate would have done. It's great fun. And I want to share it.
Someone wrote to me is having a very hard time finding love.
So somebody apparently wrote to him. And there's a reason why I say apparently. This is because I don't know how true his stories are, and I've said this before. While going through his book, when we've listened to his stories before, Sometimes I think he just makes them up. So, for example, here when he says somebody wrote me, I'm like, no, you just sat down and wrote out the speech. Like, that's all that happened here. No one wrote you, no one asked, but you're going to come out here and tell us anyway, right? That's what I think is going on here. So, someone apparently wrote him and asked him for this advice because, once again, this man is a god to these people. He is a walking, living, breathing on earth God. They worship him as much as they are worshiping a God because they all claim, right? They all claim that they are worshiping, an afterlife, that they believe in all that. They're worshiping a God. But at the same time, it's all about him. It's not as much about the God that they are meant to worship or about how you're supposed to get into heaven after you pass away. In order to do that, for example, you just got to do this guy's courses, if you will, and then work up towards impressing him. And that is the culty part. So apparently somebody wrote it and they were like, listen, I am an incel and I don't know how to get love. Can you please tell me how? And that's where we're at.
But the secret of love is to get love, you must give love.
Oh my God, that was so deep. We had no clue.
You really got to open yourself and give freely of yourself. You can't fake it. It's got to be so.
All right, now I know that he's talking about soul, but think about sex while he's talking about that because that makes it more funny.
And when you do this, you become a magnet for love.
You can't just go out there handing it out willy-nilly, though. I don't think you should listen to Harold here. Don't be a hoe.
And then the right person will come along, because then you're no longer repelling. You're attracting because of your open heart.
This man talks in a hypnotizing way that is supposed to pull you in. I have watched so many videos of his, by the way. It's always the same cadence. It's always the same pause. He talks the exact same. And the way he talks and the way he is also culty.
And if I can leave you with one thing this evening, it's
It would be an STD. No, I'm just joking. He doesn't say that.
to get love, you've got to give it. And you've got to open your heart, open it completely. And even when you're in a relationship, it takes a long time to get engaged in it, if you will. It takes time because
Oh, now we actually are talking about sex, I think. It takes time to get engaged in it, if you will. He does a little, you know, facial expression towards us, like, yeah.
there are past hurts,
He's like, don't, worry about the baggage.
all kinds of things that are in the past that
Uh-huh.
need to be overcome. And then this relationship needs to build too.
I would prefer, if you were giving advice here, if you were going to go this route, if you told people to deal with their baggage before they entered the relationship. I'm just saying, probably a better outcome is to deal with your emotional baggage and get to a place where you can be healthy and love somebody else, because you obviously have to love yourself in order to love someone else. So you have to get to that point. But the way he says it here, he's like, hook up with someone, and then while you're with them, go and figure out all your past shit. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Just leave them out of it then, I guess, and hope for the best.
It needs to grow more deeply than the first physical attraction, which is strong.
According to him.
But then it will grow into something that is very deep if you let it.
Love is very deep if you let it. Harold Klemp.
And probably the hardest thing for people to remember during an argument is, whoa.
Well, why are we getting into an argument already? What happened? We just met. We were just dating. Everything was fine. I was dealing with my personal baggage while we were first hooking up. And now we're in an argument. Harold here has thought out this whole relationship.
Only one of us.
Oh my God, it's with him? Only one of us? Oh no, I'm out. It's over, Harold. I need to break up with you right now.
Should be talking at a time, and one of us should be right at a time.
Okay, wait. Well, one of us should be talking at a time. Yes. I mean, you don't want to be with someone that constantly interrupts you, I guess. I get that. But one of us should be right at a time. That one is a bizarre one to me because I've been married for almost 10 years. And I will tell you right now that the best advice I can give you is don't always be right. You don't have to always be right. You got to compromise sometimes yourself. And it's really good to meet your partner in the middle if you possibly can and do that compromise. Sometimes nobody has to be right. In fact, that's probably for the best. You know, that nobody's right. And you come to a compromise where it's not like one person's right, one person's wrong. It's more like we've agreed to do it like this. The whole like one person has to be right in an argument thing, it's a little bit creepy to me. It's like, no, that's not true. You don't need someone to be right and someone to be wrong, especially to be in a healthy relationship. To me, that's not the best advice. But of course, we're dealing with a cult leader. And this cult very much does believe that the men, especially, are always right. Hello, Ken. Good to see you. Hello, Chapel Militia. I like that name. Hello, I was in Eckankar for over a decade and went to war with Eckankar on my dog tags. That I am so sorry. I mean, at least at the time that you needed something to get you through, you had something to get you through. I apologize more so that it was Eckankar that you picked. I'm just glad that you have left because yes, this man, he's running a cult. My wife is always right. Happy wife, happy life. But see, that's what I mean. That's not actually like a good thing. I know you're just joking, Joe. But that's what I'm saying. Like that whole like have the wife always be right. That's not healthy either. I'm not always right. My husband tells me I'm wrong often. And then we have to compromise. Or maybe it's not a situation of right or wrong. Not all arguments are, right? Right? See what I did there? Okay, I'll stop.
Let the other be right. And this is hard. It's wisdom. A lot of wisdom. Because when you're in the heat of battle, you're not thinking wise thoughts. The emotions have taken the field. But you've got to get apart from that. You've got to stand above this, like an astronaut in space. Look down and catch yourself. Look down
An astronaut in space.
as if you would upon a Shakespearean.
No, I didn't need Eckankar. I needed to believe in myself. Very, very good point. And one of my major issues with religion, if you want me to be honest, is that whenever something good happens, you thank the God, okay? And honestly, is it God doing it or is it you doing it? That's always been my thing. It's like, why can't you just be proud of yourself, for doing something? Why do you have to thank a God, right? So that's very true. But, I guess in hindsight, we're trying to find a silver lining for you. She's not always right. Half of her is left. The earth is flat. There is no space. Don't tell Cece. He'll be very mad.
Stage. Just players in the physical body having a bad day.
This is kind of a depressing thought. That you're all just like using your body as some kind of physical vessel to live out this mundane life where your only purpose is to get closer to God and take this man's advice. It's kind of depressing. And then he does that like licky thing that he always does. That's creepy. It creeps me out. I won't lie.
And there are these things in many relationships.
Harold, you haven't been in a relationship for a very long time that's actually healthy. Let's be real. So I don't know why he's giving this advice. Apparently, someone wrote him a letter, but we all know that that's probably not true.
Many things. But if you can get through it, the love will grow deeper over time. And so the time will come when there will be...
Yeah, there will be what, Harold? Friggin' spit it out, dude!
times that you can simply not think of yourself as apart from your mate. You're one. Your mate's pain is your pain. Your mate's joy is your joy.
To an extent, please don't get into a codependent relationship. That's not good. You are also still your own person in this relationship that has your own interests and your own stuff that you want to do. All right. Again, iffy advice for love. Not that I'm any love guru, but that's the thing is that if you are going to sit out here and give advice like this is not the advice to give.
And it's very interesting.
Okay.
Those of you who have stayed the course,
He's like studying it.
yeah, I think you know what I mean. And those of you who haven't, you also think you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, what's stay the course? That's another thing in religion, honestly, that bothers me. In a lot of these religions, you have to stay together no matter what. That includes an abuse. And there has been domestic violence situations, right? Where this is the man they would come to. And I'm not sure that I completely trust that Harold here would handle that properly. Like he should. You know what I mean? It's iffy. So when you say like stick it out, yes, there's things you have to stick out, but please also have deal breakers in your relationships too, right? Like if a man hits you or a woman hits you, go. It's over. Done. Bye. Like without a second thought. Things like that. You don't have to hang on. But then I worry because if people are writing this man advice, they're coming to him for their advice, for guidance. He's the one that writes all the books. He's the one that like does up all the courses that they have to take in order to get closer to God and all of the conferences and everything, right? Right? So it's like I just don't think that he's gonna give good advice if you show up in a relationship to this man and you're having real issues. I think he's just going to be like, oh, well, stick it out. And like I said, some cases, not a good thing. He tells one hell of a bedtime story. It puts you right to sleep. So glad this dude is not my dentist. Looks like he's been saving all the anesthesia for himself. That's what happened, right? It's like, that's what happened. He likes to keep people hanging. He does. I believe in the Trinity, God, the Christ, the Holy Spirit. But this Eckankar teaches lots of lies that make followers weirdos that no one can relate to. It was huge in the 80s. Yes, it was. Um, and then it got that, and that's what I mean. And then it kind of died. And like, I didn't hear about it at all. Then it was like, hey, what's going on with this cult? Is this thing still a religion? Yes, it is. It's gotten way creepier. Um, but yeah, I just don't think that he's the one to go to. And this is what I mean. It's totally fine to believe in God, to believe in all that. I have no problem with. I may be atheist, but I have lots of friends that are believers. I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, everyone I talk to has to be an atheist too. So that is fine. But I do feel like with Eckankar, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, with Eckankar and with a lot of these sorts of culty religions, you aren't worshiping God, the Trinity, the Holy Spirit, the Christ. You're worshiping Harold Klemp and what he says. And he claims to represent that, right? But does he really? Does he really? Does he?
And I think I know what I mean.
He's so funny. I don't think
But
so.
the
So
longer
that's why
we
that was funny.
spend getting experience in this life, the more we learn about love.
The more we learn about love. So again, it's just creepy to me to think that people are actually writing into this man. I hope not, but he claims so. Asking him for this advice, and then that is the damn advice that he is giving them. I'm kind of like, ugh, this is a little bit iffy. And I think that he would be really, 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 really mad at me because I found a kind of a funny video. I find this one to be humorous. I find them all to be humorous, though. I'll be honest with you. When I'm picking out these videos and I'm sitting by myself and I'm listening to Harold Klemp, I am usually busting a fucking gut. Like, I am here rolling on the floor laughing. I don't know why it's so funny, but I'm just like, what is with this dude? Like, what is wrong with him? But I actually did find a hilarious, hilarious video of him where they clipped him talking about what to do when friends smoke, gossip, or push their beliefs on you. And I think that it is hilarious. So I have to share it.
And here's a good one, the fourth and last one from one of our EC youth.
Does he have a King James Bible? Probably not. Well, see, and this is the thing too about Eckankar that kind of shows how predatory it is that this isn't a Christian cult, really. This is an all religion cult. So, according to Harold here, you could be a Jehovah Witness and then join Eckankar. Or you could be a Muslim and join Eckankar. Or you could be a Catholic and join Eckankar. He really doesn't care what actual religion you are as long as you come over here and worship him with it. That's really all it is. Right? It's like we don't care what religion you are. Eckankar applies to all religions. Well, if you know about religions and culture at all, and you're going through what Eckankar believes, you will very quickly notice that that is not the case. There are a lot of things that, for example, Eckankar does that Jehovah Witnesses would definitely not be okay with. Like, they would be totally against it. They'd see that happen and go, all right, I'm out of this thing. Or I'm going to go back to Jehovah here. Like things like that. So I've often wondered while listening and watching him if he even knows the actual King James Bible. Because to most people, the King James is the main Bible. There's a few different versions, but the King James one is the main one. So, when you are going through with Eckankar, even the King James Bible, like, and one of the major things with all Christian faith, right, is that we don't want to worship, right, a man. You are not supposed to hold anything at the same level of God. So basically, what it is like is it's like if you are only supposed to worship one God, one Holy Spirit, right, or the Trinity, if you will, then why are you worshiping Harold Klemp? Right? He comes out here like he's the one you should be worshiping. He's the one that gives advice. And it does mean co-worker with God. We've talked about this a lot. And this is kind of what he did. He threw in another few doctrines. We have even a little bit of like Scientology stuff in here in terms of how this runs. With the different worlds and different spiritual worlds and whatnot. There's a lot. It's almost like they sat down and went, let's take all the religions, mix them together, and then we can pray on all of them. It's like, no, that's not how that works. So my whole thing with these like cults and is you're not supposed to be holding anyone at the same level as God. In all religions, like kind of across the board, that's a thing. No matter what religion you're in, you just worship the God. You're not supposed to hold any man same level. So I'm always kind of like, if a man walks out and he's expecting you to worship him as much as the God, or it means co-worker with God, and he's out here saying, I'm a Mahanta, I'm the great Mahanta, I am the great one. He's like Dark Ninja. I am the great one. Listen to me. You should laugh at that and kind of be like, no, I'm good. But unfortunately, a lot of people do still fall for this thing. And he thinks that if you're talking out about it, this is what should happen, I guess.
How do I enjoy the company of friends who do things which are against my personal code? Now, these friends include a smoker, a gossip, and an atheist. Just like an atheist has a real wide variety of friends. The quick and easy thing is to do just get rid of them all. You can do that.
I mean, I guess he's funny. I feel like he comes out and he tries to do like this as if he's a preacher, but then at the same time, like a stand-up comedian. And I'm like, it's not that funny. But of course, think there isn't really a laugh track here. This is a bunch of people in a room, right? That are actually finding this man funny. Nope.
If you see somebody who has to settle for friends like this, you say, my gosh, what's the matter with you?
All right, so people that gossip and smoke, what the hell is wrong with you?
That's why I haven't used names on these.
On what? On your talks and your books? Because you do use names. I've often joked about how I feel like you fake name because the people don't actually exist. Religion is about belief. If this guy thought he could pick that apart, he was sadly mistaken. I should have, like, what is he on
No,
about
I'm
here?
just joking because
because you think you're a stand-up comedian. It's not that funny, Harold. It really isn't.
It shows the Eck youth are out there and they're willing to engage others who do not think exactly as they do.
Yeah, well, people out here seem to think of fetishes a lot more than they think of decks of cards and poker. I can tell you that much.
And believe me, there are a lot of people in the world who don't think the way we do. And it takes courage to go out there and, find these people.
Wait. Why am I doing that, Harold? Why am I? Hold on. Hold up. Hey. Why am I doing that? That seemed like a weird thing. So I have to then go and seek people that don't have that same, like, why am I going out and seeking them for, so that I can trick them into joining this cult? In that case, I don't want to anyway.
But if you're young, life goes on and you find some of these friends fall by the wayside. I had a lot of so-called friends. They're years gone.
Harold's like, there was a time when I had friends. I had lots of friends. I had the most friends. Oh, it was such a wonderful time. We used to all hang out together, but then they wouldn't do every single thing that I said, and they wouldn't worship me. So I went out and I got new friends. They were just fake friends, and then I had to create this cult and join and become the Mahanta.
Think of them, and I'm sure they don't think of me. And if they
Um,
do,
um,
they don't think much of me.
Now they're probably like, oh, remember that Harold guy that we went to grade school with? Yeah, he's running a cult now, dude. Isn't that crazy?
Well, the smoker, smoking can have secondhand effects that are detrimental to health. So you've got maybe you can ask, hey, don't smoke when we're inside or something, or if we're outside, stand downwind of me if you would.
Stand downwind of me if you would. I mean, yeah, I can understand. I'm a smoker. I could understand why maybe some people wouldn't want to be around smoke. I smoke a lot of green stuff though, so I don't know. It's a little different here in Canada today, Harold. You're not gonna get too many friends that don't smoke. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But see, this is the funny thing, is that he's like, just tell your friends what to do. Go out and seek friends who gossip, and then like tell them off for it. Tell them that they're so-called friends if they don't join Eckankar. And equally, if you have friends that smoke, they suck too. But I'm kind of like, but what does this have to do with Eckankar? Right? Wait, well, for real though, what does it have to do with Eckankar? What is smoking and making your friends? Like, I guess, like, no one in X smokes. So, if you smoke, you safe from the cult then. Yay!
If you're a real friend. And then you find out. I had a close friend, he smoked, and he's from out of town, not Nakast. And he wanted to come visit. And I told him, I said, I'm sensitive to smoke. And at one point, I got in a room filled with smoke and I started getting dizzy. I couldn't see. And I didn't realize then that I had such a problem with smoke, but there was a lot of smoke. And so...
Okay, but here's the thing. Was it smoke from cigarettes, or were you in a fucking house that was on fire and you were in a room? Because that's a little bit different. But again, there's nothing wrong with having an issue with smoking. I just think it's hilarious that he makes like such a big deal out of it and makes up this whole like backstory about some friend that he had, and how like he's like, oh, they're a bad friend if they won't smoke away from you. Well, I mean, people could equally say you're a bad friend for complaining constantly about it. Did you ever think that maybe your friend smokes, because of stress or anxiety. I mean, geez, you're not thinking of your friends too much, are you, Harold? No wonder why they all left.
It was in a pool room. Yeah.
Wait, you walked into a pool room back in like the 80s when everyone was smoking in them? You walked into a pool room, bar probably, and then we're like, why is all this smoke here? That's how entitled this man is. He's like, I go to where the most smoke in the world would ever be. And then I am like, wait, why is there all this smoke here? And then I demand that they stop. And if they don't, then they're all bad people. I'm like, wait a minute, what is that the story you're going with right now? I don't like it. Right?
I was playing 3-cushion billiards.
Even the 80s up to the 90s, Joe. Like, I was in late public school when I started smoking. And I remember being like 13 and smoking inside restaurants and stuff. That kind of came into effect when I was like in high school, the smoke ban from inside. So it's just like, dude, if you cannot handle smoke, no offense, but at that time, that would like the billiards would have been the worst place to go. This dude reminds me a bit of Hanover.
This on a table that doesn't have pockets so you can tell where I was. That used to be a very popular game.
Now this is hilarious. So he just told us a story about how he goes into basically a billiards, right? And the smoke is all there. He's supposed to be telling us a story about smoking and how he got his friends to stop smoking, or asked his friend that came out of town not to smoke, and they got into some argument. They're not friends anymore. But instead, we get this.
Very mathematical. You have to figure everything out, by the diamonds. There are first diamond up
the
on this
spade.
side would be 1 and
Feel left out.
Yeah. How's it go?
Hi,
1.5 points, 2, 2.5 points, 3. You start at 1.5, and then you go all the way around the back of the table and come down this way. And then, of course, you have to know how much the table.
He's like so intelligent for knowing how to play this game, isn't he? This is the only reason why I could think why he's telling us this. Is so that we're like, oh my god, that's a really hard game. He's so smart. He used to play that?
How much the cushions on the left vary from the cushions on the right. Before you start a game, you do a couple of test shots. And if you ever run into an opponent who does some test shots, just seemingly aimless, shooting at nothing in particular around the table, look out, don't bet money. Don't do it, because he knows what he's doing, and if you don't.
Okay, so I guess smoking bad, gossip bad, gambling still good. Good to know.
He's got your money. So when
Harold here will also ask for donations. So he also has your money if you're in this. Stop giving it to him.
Anyway, the smoker, and a gossip. Gossip is poison. It's just pure and out poison.
Poison, he says as he's uploading these videos onto YouTube. One of the biggest gossip sites of the world.
This is like, I don't know,
See?
someone, actually it's like a skunk walking around spraying things. And that's like poison.
He I swear, he wrote this one while he went along. He went off script for this. And he's like, I know, I have an analogy. Ha, that was a good one. You can almost see how proud he is of himself. It's interesting to me. I like to watch people. I'm a people watcher and analyze the way that they move and the way that they speak and of course what they're saying. But everything about this man is very, very sus, by the way. Every part.
I don't know, gossip. I wouldn't listen to it. I just wouldn't listen to it because it'll pull you down. I don't know. I don't know what kind of friends, we want. And the atheist,
He doesn't know what kind of friends that we want. So he's like, don't take friends that smoke. Don't take friends that gossip. Friends that gamble, that the billiards though on pool. That's cool. You can do that. Um, and, and I almost feel like in this video, he got a bit emotionally upset. Like, as you guys all like to say, he's triggered. He's triggered right now. Where almost like this talk about friends and gossip has somehow like upset him. You can almost watch him like go with his cadence. Let's play that again. And really pay attention. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, don't worry, just last few seconds. Just pay attention to almost like the way that he changes from this position, from feeling and looking like someone that's very sure of what they're saying, right? And he's just kind of telling a story to you could almost see him go back into his memory. Like he's reliving something. And then he just gets kind of depressed. And I'm like, huh, it's a little interesting.
wouldn't listen to it. I just wouldn't listen to it
Right there, see?
because it'll pull you down.
And as he says that, it's almost like he's being pulled down. It's interesting.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of friends, we want. And the atheist,
Oh no. What are you mad at me for now, Harold?
that's okay.
Oh, okay, I'm okay. We're okay. Having no belief is okay. I'm really scared. I'm actually really scared. I've never been more scared to hear someone talk about atheists.
Unless the atheist is going to argue all the time about Eckankar and how no God is better than your God.
Wait, what? Am I arguing how no God is better than... Harold, do you know what an atheist is? Are you aware with what an atheist is, Harold? Because an atheist isn't going to come over to argue Eckankar to be like, listen, I worship Allah, and he is better than God and Jesus and all that crap, okay? That's not what's going to happen. An atheist won't come in and, well, first of all, I hope that there are not... and they'll destroy everyone, my husband says. An atheist isn't going to come in, though, and try that shit. Like, it's so weird to me that he just goes off like this. He's like, don't have atheist friends, okay? They'll argue you all the time about how their God is better. I can't get over this part. It's too funny. How my God, my non-God, the non-existent God, Harold, we don't fucking believe in God, okay? That's what an atheist is. So no atheist anywhere is coming in to argue Eckankar and tell you that their God is better than your God. You will not have an atheist do that. And honestly, I'll be real with you, Harold. People that do what I do, they even if they are atheists, they have to have respect for those that are in religion. They really do. Like, you cannot be a bigot and complete atheist like a Dragnot, for example, and then do what I do. Because when I'm doing this work, even when I'm talking about Eckankar, I'm not only thinking about atheists and how your God isn't real and blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, oh my God, what this man is saying is going to reach those that believe. I'm worried about the people that believe in God being preyed upon by this man. You have to have that empathy. You have to. Otherwise, please don't be doing what I'm doing. You don't have the right. It's not to sit here and go, atheist is the only way. That's not what I'm here for, like, at all. That's not what I'm arguing. No. I'm just arguing cults are bad. Pseudoscience, bad. Cults, bad. Stay away from these types of things. Stay away from people that want to run communities like they are running a cult. Stay away from that behavior. Stay away from people that are trying to control you at all, really. So it's like, it's just not going to happen here. I'm not going to come in here, though, and be like, don't believe in God, everybody. Shame on all of you that believe in God. Rah, 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 rah. I'm an atheist, so no God exists. Again, that's not what I'm doing here. To me, that's not a fair debate or argument, right? You're allowed to believe in your God, and you're allowed to have your reasons why you believe. I'm allowed to be atheist and have my reasons why I don't believe. And that's just what I believe, in case you're wondering. My whole thing is, though, that if we're going to have people out here that are believing, I'll be damned, especially as an atheist that doesn't believe, if I have to sit here and watch people like you, Harold, come out here and then take advantage of those people, because I fucking hate faith manipulation. I hate it. I talk about it all the time because it's one of the things that just really irks me out here in MLMs, in cults, in all of these businesses. One of the main things that they always use is faith manipulation, and it drives me crazy. And I often say, I'm atheist, but I really do have a lot of worry for those that are Christian in this world, especially right now. There's a lot of weird people out here, okay, that are all trying to prey on you. Just be careful. So, most atheists, though, when they do debates, if they are just all, yeah, man, God's not real, or else you can't talk to me, that just stay away from those people. They are gossiping. But again, I don't think any atheists are going to come and argue you that their God is better. Otherwise, it will be the flying spaghetti monster, ramen. He might be better than all gods. I'm Italian, and he's made of spaghetti, damn it! What do you want me to say?
Things like this get old, so, when it comes to friends, you pays your nickel and takes your chances. So, do as you feel best. Listen to the inner master and go from there.
Listen to your inner master, and we'll go from there. And what does your inner masters do? They all follow Harold. Right? So basically, he's like, just listen to me. Listen to me, and I will tell you how to live your life and how to get closer to God. I am the Mahanta. I have all the answers, all of them, every single one. And he actually does say that when you get to the top of this thing, if you will, that you get closer to God. That is the goal, is to, again, be a co-worker with God, trying to get other people to sign up so that they too can be co-workers with God. Yeah, your inner master is kind of like your inner voice, if you will. You're conscious, right? But at the same time, as I often point out, in something like this, your inner self-talk and your conscious is supposed to go by what these people tell you to believe, right? And how they're telling you to live. So is it really your inner master when you're in a cult? Or is it them telling you what to do, and it's just you've been indoctrinated so much and manipulated so much that now it is also you telling yourself to do it, right? And that is, again, is one of the things that you have to be careful for. It's true, no God is better than having him as a savior. See, and that's the thing, is, to me, if you are going to be in a religion, most, they worship a God. So if you're all meeting together, let's say in a church setting, and you're all just worshiping the God, and there's like even a minister, and he's just there like, listen, I'm just kind of like here to help in the worship, not a problem. Okay. Second, that minister, though, starts saying things like, God has come and spoketh to me, and he told me to tell all of you to get naked right now. No, I'm just joking. It might not be that extreme. But, you have to kind of go, ooh, I don't want to start listening to this man telling me what to do. That's not good. I am already following a doctrine that God has set for me. Because a lot of people in religion, when they study their religion, when they worship, when they praise God, they have their own inner master, if you will. And it comes from their experiences, it comes from their life, it comes from their relationship with God. And that's the other thing. A lot of real religions are more about your personal relationship with God. You don't need some other person to come in and tell you how to do that. Maybe a guide, like I said, like a minister or a priest, someone like that is supposed to be a guide, but they're not supposed to take over and then replace, right? And then have their own doctrine, for example. No, that's supposed to be the Bible. And that's kind of what Harold did. Is he was like, instead of people like worshiping all religions, I'm gonna try to make kind of like the religion of all religions, if you will. I feel like that's what he was going for here, where he really did pull from several different religions to make this thing. And then, of course, like I said, you don't have to like leave your religion to join this, which is really creep. I mean, it's creepy when they say to you, I mean, I guess we don't win out here, guys, because it's creepy when they tell you to quit your religion to join theirs. It is. But then it's more predatory to me when they say, that you don't have to stop believing in your God, because one thing that I've noticed about this as I'm diving deeper and deeper into it is I feel like they are very much trying to replace the God that you believe in after you show up here, just very slowly, without you really noticing. Right? It's almost like he's hoping that the Eckankar beliefs just kind of come over and start slowly taking over those other beliefs you have. He doesn't want to be the one out here to demand it, if you will, or to be like, hey, listen, I don't think that you guys should worship like Jesus and God anymore. You should now come over here and worship like soul and me. Our whole closer to God thing, we have our own God over here that we're working with. It's not the same God all these other people have. Like, he's the one that does that, not atheists. I'm just saying, you know. But if you're doing that, then you just got to be very careful. It's almost like he wants every religion to be preyed on, and I feel like it's more dangerous that way. He's more of a danger because of the fact that he says all religions are okay. Most people, if they have to leave their religion, they might be like, "Whoa, wait a second, what's going on here?" That could be a red flag. What's dangerous about this is he'll be like, "Oh, I'm not asking you to do that. I'm not asking you to leave your religion for ours. Therefore, I'm not doing anything wrong here. Okay? Nothing wrong is going on." So because of that, it almost leaves it open to heat praise on those people that maybe are a little bit more aware, right? So they go, oh, well, I don't want to be in a so-called cult or religion that says you have to leave being a Catholic and come join ours. Harold here says I could stay a Catholic and I could still come and do like the soul worshiping and sing hymn and do courses to get close to God and stuff, right? So to me, it's like almost more dangerous. So it's like more creepy if you have to leave the religion, and it's more dangerous almost if the cult encompasses all religions. So we never win. We just don't win out here. I'm actually kind of surprised that he hasn't opened up to that possibility, because their doctrine is basically that you are soul, you live, several lives, you are reincarnated, and every life that you live, you kind of have a body as your vessel, and then you're just kind of using it, right? So that you can do things in order to work up and get closer to God, because you want to be a co-worker with God in order to go and travel into one of the many worlds, if you will. They believe in like soul travel and all this weird stuff where you can like go and visit like different heavens, if you will, different worlds. So, I mean, it is not that far off from the aliens put us here. I'll say it. It really isn't, though. I'm not far off. I mean, he's just missing a little bit of crazy, and he pretty much is a lot like L. Ron Hubbard, actually, who basically just opened Scientology so he didn't have to pay taxes. He's like, I just don't want to pay tax. I need a cult. So yeah, it's just stay tuned. Maybe he'll believe in that next, Ken. So I have the glossary here of their terms. I believe I've like gone through the one on the website, and it only has about 4 or 5 definitions on it. This is the one at the back of the Is Life a Random Walk book. I got a little bit of an older copy of this book, I guess, on the computer than I had sent to me in my hand. So there were a couple pages that were not okay. Like they weren't the same. And I was like, what's going on? And then I realized it's because of this huge glossary being in the back. And that I couldn't find it anywhere else other than in this book. Because this one goes through a few extra definitions. And the one that's on the computer here that I'm about to go through with you actually goes through way more definitions than the one I have in my hand. Okay? And I was like, what the hell? Why am I missing a bunch today? And then I realized it's because this is an older version. So I guess they've taken out some of these definitions in the newer version. I'm not really sure as to why, but you know me. If I figured out that you took something out, I'm going to then blast it all over the place. I'm going to be like, no, we're finding the old one that has all of the definitions in it with nothing removed. So, that is what I have done here. We have the glossary, the older one, the one that has not been edited to have like half of them, right? They sing the word you, and it is very powerful at seminars with a couple of thousand people singing or chanting at the same time. I am still not sure what was going on with that, but it zones you out. Harold Klemp also has a way of speaking in almost a hypnotic way. And I've talked about this before. One of my friends, Auntie, there, she actually picked up on that a lot too. And I was like, I thought that was just me because I feel like he has to be doing this monotone, pausing and everything. Like, it's not just who he is. I feel like he is doing it on purpose, slightly. And there has to be a reason for that. And we can deep dive why this happened if you want, because I do think it's interesting to talk about how this happens. Because I believe you. And this is part of the problem is that people go to those seminars, right? And it is very powerful there. People are all very nice and welcoming. It's the same as I tell people all the time, it's the exact same as a multi-level marketing. Like you're going for Amway and everything's just so wonderful there. And then you kind of get home and you go, wow, that was a crazy experience. And it is interesting. It's almost like it puts you in a hypnotic trance. The word is very specifically chosen. The syllable is very specifically chosen. And I do think that we need to deep dive that. I think that would be very interesting. But thank you for sharing that experience as someone that's actually done it. Because, yeah, it's just good to have that. Words set in small caps are defined elsewhere in this glossary, they claim. Um, I mean, they kind of define things elsewhere in the book or the glossary. But to me, all of it is a bunch of gibberish that Harold Klemp and Paul Timmons just kind of like wrote up together. Like they were like, let's just write this shit down, you know? See, good old Paul Twitch here. Um, the Eck, which I love how they tell us how to say it. So Eck, Eck, Eck. Apparently, I don't say it like that. The life force, the Holy Spirit, or audible life current which sustains all life. And I've talked about this before. So Ek is supposed to be the Holy Spirit, right? But then there is another Holy Spirit. It's all very confusing. And that's why we need this glossary. Eckankar. Ek and Kar. That's so funny to me. Religion of the light and sound of God. And that is actually what they want to be known as. They're like, hi, we're Eckankar. We're the religion that does the light and sound of God. That's what we're all about. Just his light and sound, though. Also known as the ancient science of soul travel. Ancient science of soul travel. As a STEM girl, I have a huge issue with this. I just have a huge issue with this. I'm sorry to say, but there is no science behind soul travel. We have deep dove soul travel before on this channel, and will continue to do so, just so that I could show it to you and be like, look, nothing is scientific about it. It is the same thing, and I've said this before. It is the same thing as what you guys see 20-somethings doing on TikTok, okay, when they say that they went to Hogwarts. I promise you. It's just in a different setting, right, and for a different reason. They want to go and visit a different world that they can go visit because they're climbing up to get closer to God in this cult, instead of just wanting to go and see Draco at Hogwarts, okay, to have a bang or something. Go have a little romp. Apparently that's what the teens are doing today on TikTok. It makes me want to jump off a bridge. The only reason why I know this is because I have other people that talk about it that I know. That's the only reason. So it's very much like that. It isn't anything religious, and again, it's iffy. There is no science behind this at all. You should know that. None. Pseudoscience, lots of. A truly spiritual religion for the individual in modern times. I would actually have to argue that there are a lot right now, especially right now, because everyone's going to this new age medicine crap that we all know I have a problem with as well. But right now, there's a lot of spiritual religions and spiritualities out here that I would say I would tell people to go and practice far before I would ever tell them to join this thing. I'm just throwing that out there. I would tell you to go and be wicked or pagan before I would tell you to come and join this crap. I promise. The teachings provide a framework for anyone to explore their own spiritual experiences. Okay, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Then they're going to give us the history lesson, of course. Established by Paul Twitchell, which we are going to be diving into him next. My next Eckankar stream, which will probably be, I'm hoping for next Friday. I think I should be good to stream next Friday. I've got to look at what I'm doing, but I should be good. And I do want to dive into Polly here, because he is the actual founder that did actually found all of this in 1965. I have read, and I'm still kind of reading through, because holy crap, is this ever a book, guys? I am reading through the actual Eckankar whole book that he wrote, where he goes into great friggin' detail, right, about everything. He tells us how he wants us to worship it. And I was going to actually do a book review of it, similar to how I've done book reviews of Harold stuff. But the book is like 500 pages long. It's huge. And a lot of it, for some reason, and I don't know why Paul did this. I might, but we'll get into that next week. It's written in almost like older English. So unless you are like me and you know like old UK speak, all right, then you are going to be like, what the fuck is this book saying? Like, and there would be no way for me to be able to present it. While I was reading through it, I was thinking the whole time, how am I going to be able to present this information to people without literally putting them to sleep? And it would have been impossible, even for me. And we know I can add life to anything, really. And I was even like, there is no way for me to make this interesting at all. And, like, I'm just going to have to read it and then tell everyone what it's about afterwards. And they'll just have to believe me because you guys would kill me if I made you sit and listen to me read through the whole thing. Because holy crap, okay? He didn't, Paul Twitch over here, as I like to call him, Paul Twitch. He did not write that book for the modern day people to read and understand. I assure you. I assure you. So it's a little funny that it's always like the modern day founder. Everything's about the modern times right here, right? The religion for modern times. I'm like, have you guys actually read Paul's book that started this whole thing? Because damn, that's not modern at all. It really isn't. And then of course they always say the word means co-worker with God. They're almost like programmed into saying that over and over and over again. Every time they talk about this, they say an Eckankar means a co-worker with God. Our religion means a co-worker with God. It's almost like a program into their brain that I've noticed because I have talked to a couple people that have left and I've talked to a couple people that are still in and they're like, I don't know why I tell everyone that too. They need to know that that's what it means, and I don't even know why. And I'm like, because they literally program you into doing that. Be careful. So now they have Eck Masters, and we've kind of gone through some of these, but like I said, it's a little different here. And there's some more of them that are in hiding, and then got deleted from the new books. So we got to archive it because I'm like, wait, why are we deleting stuff? We know I don't like that. Spiritual masters who can assist and protect people in their spiritual studies and travels. And you're like, oh, do they go on trips together? That seems really nice. No, they actually mean your soul travel. Yeah, like you're supposed to lay down and sing hue and get into a trancey state and then go on a trip with your soul to a world almost like in a fifth dimension. So that's what they mean. Those travels. Uh-huh. Make sure you pack a suitcase for that. The Eckmasters are from a long line of God realized souls. Now, a long line. Let's talk about that for a moment. A long line of God realized souls. And actually also highlight this because a long line, sir, this has only been going since 1965. And I know for a lot of people that really does sound like a very long time ago, especially since the year is 2023 right now. But I assure you, it really is not. Okay, this thing started in 1965. We cannot now claim that it's a long line of God realized souls. Like, no offense, but I don't consider from 1965 until today to be a long line. And I'm sure most of the people that are older that watch me would very much agree with you that that's not a long line. When you say something like a long line of God realized souls, it almost alludes that it would be like hundreds of years. Am I right? When you hear like ancient ancestors, for example, you get in the thought of like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So when they say the Eckmasters are from a long line of God realized souls, it's supposed to like give you the effect that these Eckmasters have come from generations of Eckmasters upon generations of Eckmasters. Listen, we're only on our second generation of people in this thing. So that's not true. And I often talk too about what the hell is God realized souls? God realized souls is basically people that like worked up to the top of this thing, if you will, Because again, it is a lot like Scientology, has a lot of Nexium vibes to it, where you almost have to do things, do courses, do training, do worships, do this, do that, pay money, blah blah blah, in order to get closer to God, become that co-worker with God. So a God realized soul is just somebody that's done that. They've worked their whole way up and now they are a Mahanta. It's not actually like how in some religions, they'll say like the priests are actually representing God or something, and like God's realized them. It's nothing like that. There's no real importance here. That's my point. Even with the Eckmasters, not a real importance, other than we worked our ways up in this cult and we got a certificate for getting to the top, and now we get to become a Mahanta, right? And it says, who know the responsibility that goes with spiritual freedom. To know the responsibility that goes with spiritual freedom, again, how are they spiritually free? This only applies to the fact that when you join this religion or this cult, right, that you don't have to change your religion to theirs. They teach that the first Eckmaster was a caveman who spoke to the other caveman with grunts. And do you know what? They have claimed this stuff. They have claimed that the Eckmasters go back to that's kind of why I brought up ancient ancestors. Because I read somewhere, I don't remember if it was Paul's book or somewhere in Harold's right now. I just woke up right before this stream. Please forgive me. I'm a little tired. This is a lot. But basically they have talked about how like they take the people that have done this in other places. They've basically stolen a lot of like the Chinese belief system, and they claim their ancestors were Eckmasters and that they were all Eck. It's very strange. Like they do very much try to add extra history to this thing, and it really does bother me because I'm like, that's kind of why I'm bringing this up. There is none. There is no like history past 1965. Like this thing did not exist before that. So no one was an Eckmaster before Paul. Paul Twitch there. He was the very first. Okay, he doesn't come from a long line of anything except maybe Conbed, because I believe he's one, and Harold is one too. But not a long line of God realized souls, if you will. If you look into their families, it's like, no, that definitely not. So this is kind of what I'm saying. There is no history. And they do everything that they can to make you believe that this thing's been around for years, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But it's like, you literally just told us that Paul invented it in 1965. And then they'll be like, oh, well, he's just the one that sat down and put it together. But before him, there were people that were Eckmasters. They just didn't fully believe they were Eckmasters. And this came from an ancient Chinese spiritual thing that we're doing. And you're like, Jesus Christ, like fake history again. We don't need it. Ken McDowell, yep, that's in his writings he sends you. This is humorous and painful at the same time. From age 18 to 32. I believe this, Chaz. Let's be fair, though. You were 18 when you joined. You're 18. You are pretty vulnerable. You're not exactly the smartest. I mean, you're still a teenager, right? None of us were intelligent as teenagers. If you're a grown-ass adult and you're in your 30s and you look back at your teen years going, yeah, I was awesome. I did everything right. You're probably still living in that time. None of us made good decisions at that age, really. So I could see why you would fall into something like this. And that's what's worrisome about this thing. And that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up again, because I do see this now preying on teenagers, on people that are 18, 19, 20. So it's scary because they're looking for something, right? They're going, what is going on in the world? Oh my God, I'm so lost. I'm out on my own for the first time. I have no clue what I'm supposed to do. What the fuck? It's fair to say that a lot of people in that age range, 18, 19, 20, 21, etc., early 20s, late teens, you are trying to find who you are. That is the time for self-discovery. So if something like this shows up and says, I will help you, a lot of times you fall for it. And then once you're there, it's very hard to kind of like break the cycle, to stop the manipulation, to stop the indoctrination, right? It is. I talk all the time. People go, well, why don't you just walk out and leave? And I'm like, because it's a cult. I don't think you understand the manipulation and the indoctrination that goes into this. Oh, well, you're not living on a compound like with Jonestown or something. No, actually, nowadays you can do it online. People are in their own homes being manipulated to believe things. Isn't that even more scary? To me, it's more scary. So to me, that means we need more awareness and talking about things like that for those young people. Because we have 18-year-olds right now. Someone's turning 18 today that this man could potentially find and go, come to our cult. It's wonderful. You can believe whatever you want. And then also believe that we come from a long line of God realized souls. You know, it worries me. It really does. Especially in a time right now where people don't trust government. People maybe don't trust the mainstream religions, right? And then Harold here shows up. Oh, well, I'm not a mainstream religion, and I, don't actually make you change religions. All you got to do is come over here and then learn how to get closer to God. It's not that big of a deal. Then you show up and then you're in a fucking cult. You know, it's scary. That's how they all work. Listen, cults don't come up to recruit someone and go, "Hi, we are a religious cult. Do you want to join us?" No, that's not what happened. People don't go out going, "I really want to join a cult today. I think I'm going to go look for a cult to join," and then end up joining. That's not what happens. It's a long process of manipulation and indoctrination, obviously over time. And in many cases, you could just be a religious person. You just think that, you're doing a worship like you always do. You and friends get together all the time and you guys do almost like a Bible study together. That's totally cool. Totally fine. Do that. But then you find this thing and you're like, oh, they do that here too. Oh, well, they're not doing anything different than what me and my friends do. So I'll join it. Then it will be cool. I'll have more people to do it with. And then all of a sudden you're in a fucking cult. And it's 3 weeks later and they're telling you that you have to have a meeting with them to talk to them about how like all your deepest, darkest secrets. Right? Or some crazy thing like that. And you're going, how did I get here? Well, you just found something that you enjoyed. You went out looking, right, for a way to worship like you do with your friends. You found another one. You thought, well, this will be fun. Very innocent. Very innocent. And then again, all of a sudden you go, oh, crap, how did I get here? And then this helps too. There were some cute and sexy females my age. I've actually heard that this has been used. Like in this one. Like they will actually, they'll take like really good looking girls to go and recruit really young men, right? I mean, why not? This thing talks about sex and shit. It's kind of creepy. So, I mean, at the Harold, we just heard him talking about how you become a love magnet. So, would that be weird to think that he takes women to, get men to join, takes men to get women to join? Almost like Charles Manson did, because that was also something he did? Yeah, it was. Just think about that for a moment. If we were using Charles Manson tactics over here, we have problems, But I do not believe that there is any spiritual freedom really here. I don't. I don't think that that's what they can call it unless they're only referring to, like I said, the fact that you don't have to leave your religion to join this cult. Then, of course, they always get into Hugh. We always make fun of it. Hugh. Like that. And it says the most ancient secret name for God, right? The most ancient secret name from God. All right. And I mean, that's not it's not really wrong. There is lots of ancient belief systems that do believe in chanting certain words. The monks do it. Okay, it's a known thing. They just stole it from them. That's all Harold did. He just went and stole it from them. I promise you. That's all that happened. Because there are other ancient religions out here that do believe that you is a love song to God, or that doing any chant, maybe not you necessarily, but doing another chant. There are also several Christian religions and Catholic religions, for example, that sing songs. My favorite song was Jesus, lover of my soul. You know that song? That was my favorite song when I was religious, and I I worked I worked at church camp when I was in high school. I literally worked at a Christian church camp as a counselor for 2 summers. Would you believe that? I literally did that. Yeah. No, I've run some Bible studies myself. I have been in the world of religion. I grew up very, very Catholic, very, very Catholic. And then when I was in my teen years, my mom was kind of not as Catholic anymore. She didn't really care as much about what religion we were. We had some things happen at my church with my priest that kind of put her off, if you will. And then I went to a Christian camp because didn't care. It wasn't just Catholic camp. And I got to work there, and then I made money. Not much money, but that was pretty good for a summer job when you were in high school. So even there, we had like worship times where we would sing songs to God. So that whole idea is something that really, really like comes from everywhere. Like every religion kind of has a virgin. Oh God, yeah, it has that too. But a version of Hugh. I learned in Morals and Dogma, the Masonic Bible, that he was the name of the ancient sun god of Britain. They don't tell you that in Eckankar. Hugh actually stands for a lot of different things all over the world. And that's what I mean. It is even an ancient chant that the monks use. But it is that Harold went and stole that basically. And he's like, we're going to make it mean that it's a love song to God. A lot of people do believe that it is, the love song to other gods. Like I said, it's used. It's a real thing. And Paul Twitch and Harold did not invent this. They stole it. The XX parties. They're really orgies, with Harold Klemp as the main one. No one's been showing up anymore. That's why he's upset that he has no friends. Then, of course, we get to the living Eckmaster, which, of course, that is Harold Klemp. I'm just like pointing that out. It's a little creepy to me. Like, that's you, sir. So, if you're wondering, if you haven't been deep diving this with me, it is the title of the spiritual leader of Eckankar. Then they get into this. They say his duty is to lead souls back to God. The living Eckmaster can assist spiritual students physically as the outer master. In the dream state, as the dream master, because yes, and in the spiritual world as the inner master. And that's what I mean. The inner master is when you listen to him through you. They convince you that your inner conscious, okay, and that your inner thoughts are actually coming from the living Eggmaster. That's creepy. Don't believe that. That's not a thing. And then they say Sri Harold Klemp became the Mahanta, the living Eckmaster, in 1981. And from 1965 until 1981, it was good old Paul Twitchell, who's basically the one that made this whole religion, which also is very strange because now Harold acts like he's the one that made it. And I'm like, you're the second guy that's been the Mahanta, you know? I learned Christian originally, have learned a lot about the world since then. I mean, yeah, I feel like maybe if I didn't grow up with some religion, I wouldn't have been on such a quest in my, like, teen years to find out what the hell is going on in our world and why we believe in all these things. Because I've kind of always been interested in that whole aspect of why do we believe in these things? How did they come to be? Who's created all of this? Because it was man, unfortunately. So I have a very analytical brain, even if it doesn't seem like it, because I try to be funny more than I try to be serious, I guess. Hello, Takara. I am doing fabulous, and I hope you're doing well too. So, like, they act like it's like Harold Klemp is the one that now made this thing, and he isn't. And that kind of creeps me out too. I'm like, did we just like forget about Paul now? Like just rip and then move on? Like it's just so weird. So now we get into like the Mahanta. Mahanta, a title to describe the highest state of God consciousness on earth. Yeah, because the actual highest state means that you've died. Often embodied in the living Ek Master. He is the living word. The living word. You mean this guy that I keep playing in my videos that like can barely speaketh? He is the living word? The living word. Really? Really though? This dude?
And the atheist, that's okay.
That guy. That guy is the living word. He's the one that they go to for everything. And that's what I mean. That creeps me out. There should never just be one person. Right, it creeps me out enough that you guys all believe in one being, but at least that being tends to be in the sky. It's not only just one person telling you what to do in most cases. This is what I'm saying. Having this man come up here and be like, I am the living word, you must all listen to me, is creepy. That's not a good thing. You cannot have one person that says that they are the end all, the be all, and they're the ones that tell you how to live. Creepy. Don't like it. They say an expression of the Spirit of God that is always with you. I don't want Harold Klemp following me around. Again, did you see that dude? He's a little creepy. I don't want that, but okay, whatever. Now we get to planes, not airplanes. I know. It could be fun to make those jokes. We are talking about the soul planes. Uh-huh. Yep, the astral physical planes, if you will. The planes that you go and visit when you are in this other state, and in your dreams you can go and visit them because you do traveling in with your soul in your dreams. I know this sounds really ridiculous, doesn't it? This sounds almost like I'm trying to explain Scientology to you mixed with some love has won. I get that. That's the problem here, isn't it? The planes, the levels of existence. Again, like levels of existence, really? Like I exist here right now, and then I die, and then I go to a heaven or a hell, or in my personal belief, I just become worm food. To me, that's enough. You don't have to then believe that there are 500 million worlds that you could go visit in some 5D dimension, like the 5D Love Has Won Amy Carlson cult. Like, it'll get weird, right? So we have the physical, and again, I have deep dove these. I mean, slightly. I've talked about them. We've kind of gone over them, talked about what each one is and what it apparently does. And there's a song for each one, and there's like colors for each one. maybe we'll dive deeper into it. We're also going to be hearing people talk about it a lot coming up. So this is important. We have the physical, of course. We have the astral, of course. The casual, right? The mental, which let's be real, if this was real, that's the one I'd be stuck in. The etheric, like S.O. Shaggy or something. And soul planes. Soul planes, which again, that is almost like the last one. And then once you go through all of these different planes, okay, these are the levels, if you will. Once you go through all of them, then you get close to God. Then you too can be like a Mahanta. Now, you're not going to be a Mahanta like Harold Klemp, okay? There's only one true living Eckmaster. But you will be almost like an assistant of his, if you will. So you will go to him and say, hey, this person came to me and wrote me a letter about how to find love. What do I say? And then he basically tells you what to say. Yay. Sounds like a fun job, doesn't it? So that's the whole point of all of this whole spirituality religion, whatever you would like to call it. You call it whatever you choose. I try to call it all things as we're going through, but at the end of the day, it's just a cult, I promise. Soul, the true self, the innermost sacred part of each person, which again is something that you probably should not be sharing with others. You're allowed to have some, sacred parts of yourself that you should only share with, like, your spouse, for example. Soul exists before birth and lives on after the death of the physical body. Because again, your body is just this physical vessel that your soul is using to climb up the plains. As a spark of God, soul can see, know, and perceive all things. It is the creative center of its own world. And now it has become almost like God in itself. We are even using like capital letters when we are talking about it and referring to it as a spark of God. But isn't soul supposed to be you, the true self? But then we're using capitalizations like it actually is God, because those that are religious will always capitalize God. And when talking about it, they always put a capital I, right? So again, little sus. Are we really getting real definitions here? Is it the true self or is it a spark of God? Am I a spark of God? Is that the point here? It's just, I feel like they aren't really always clear on this when they're talking about it. And you are supposed to always be slightly confused on that. I believe that's done on purpose. Soul travel. For those that maybe don't believe me that this thing does freaking soul travel. Don't know why you wouldn't, but I'm just saying. Some people are like, we just talked about this Eckankar thing now, and it's just a religion. She's a bigot. It doesn't do the things she says. And I'm like, here it is, soul travel. The expansion of consciousness. The ability of soul to transcend the physical body and travel into the spiritual worlds of God. Okay. I mean, sure. I guess God's just sitting on different clouds in all these spiritual worlds, and I just like go from cloud to cloud with my soul. Okay? Soul travel is taught only by the living Eckmaster, as most things, because like you can only have one person telling you what to do in a cult. Hello. It helps people unfold spiritually, which that unfold spiritually, I don't like that. I don't feel like that's a positive thing. It sounds very negative and very worrisome, and can provide proof of the existence of God and life after death. Can you please just provide that proof? We have a lot of people that need the proof. So, if you have it, it would be very helpful to all of us. Thank you. Now we get to the sound and light of Ek. Thank you, Ken. Much love to you too. Have a good one. Now we get to sound and light of Ek, which again, this is like the whole reason why this thing exists, right? It is the sound and light of God, right? It's the sound and light religion. They keep going on and on and on about it. So this one must also be important. I wonder why they took it out of the copy I have. The Holy Spirit, the two aspects through which God appears in the lower worlds. People can experience them by looking and listening within themselves and through soul travel, which again is just this weird trance state that they will put you in, that I feel like Hugh also puts you in, and that I'm feeling like Harold tries to put you in whenever he talks to you. And we're going to deep dive that. I just think we need to really talk about Paul Twitchell and who he all is and everything a little deeper first. Spiritual exercises of Ek. Again, you've heard me give several of them. Usually, like the main exercise is just go sing Hugh, right? Like they'll just be like, go sing Hugh. Oh, you have a problem? Go sing Hugh. And it's like that's not no okay. Oh, and I guess also remember that gossip is bad, so don't do any of that. Your spiritual exercises should teach you that gossip is bad, smoking is bad, gambling's okay. We got that. The daily practice of certain techniques, like what? Like just singing Hugh, to get us in touch with the light and sound of God. Most of these techniques, like I said, they will be like, okay, get into a dark room, and I'm like, oh. This sounds worrisome. Close your eyes. I'm not really sure why. I'm already in a dark room, but okay. And now sing Hugh for fucking 20 minutes a day. That will solve all of your problems. And I'm like, I don't think it does. Also, I'm scared of the dark. But that's why I'm here. Sri, which I make fun of this word all the time because it makes me laugh. Because it looks like they just took the word sir and then like changed it around. Sri is, again, pronounced like Sri for those that tell me I pronounce it wrong when I'm making fun of it. I'm making fun of it. That's why I don't pronounce it. Anyway, a title of spiritual respect. That's why I make fun of it, you see. Similar to reverend or pastor. I don't get too carried away. I would definitely go to a reverend or pastor long before I'd ever go to a Sri for anything. I assure you, and I really do hope that those are religious are on the same page with that. Used for those who have attained the kingdom of God. In Eckankar, though, it is reserved for the Mahanta, the living Ekmaster. You can only call him Sri. If you call anyone else Sri, they'll get very, very upset. Even if it's like other Mahantas, because they do have other Mahantas, if you will. Right? Like they do kind of exist. Like I said, you can work your way up in this thing and then almost become like one of Harold's like little lackeys, I guess, or work for him to help him give bad advice to everyone as like almost like just a Mahata. You won't be the living Ekmaster, but you can be like kind of like an assistant version of the Mahanta. They're also not allowed to be called Sri. And that makes me laugh a little bit. So then it says, for more explanations of Eckankar terms, see A Cosmic Sea of Worlds, the Eckankar Lexicon by Harold Klemp, which of course I'm going to be reading in future because we need to. If I am doing a complete deep dive of this thing, I told you guys I was going to be reading everything I could read, deep diving and watching everything I could watch, going to the lovely worships, which I do have one planned. Oh God, help us all. Someone pray to their God and tell them to help us all. I don't have one I believe in. And I want to fully get into this thing, figure it all out, since I do feel like nobody is. Right? And in doing that, by the way, I did find a video in which somebody who isn't Harold Klemp, yay, guys, I'm not going to torch you with actual Harold Klempness anymore. Yay, you get a little break from Harold for a little few weeks. Woo! We need it, right? He's just kind of dry and boring. I get it. I understand. I agree. But again, it's very important for you to see that too. Because he's another one that's almost like Ash, where I watch him and I'm like, this is the man people are following. This is the man who they think is like fabulous and great and everything. It's very, very, thank you, Joe. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very, very worrisome to me that they're doing this, right? So I think that we should definitely go and take a look at somebody else explain to us these worlds. Jesus Christ, I cannot talk. These worlds a little better. Since I cannot talk, I need to go grab a quick drink and wet my whistle, and then I shall be right back. So, of course, a message from our February sponsors. It's Valentine's Day. Don't spend the day alone. Spend it with someone special or someone you swiped left on. Celebrate your passion all day and all night. This year, don't worry about the size of the gift, especially the package under your clothes. After all, she won't be worried about the size of your eggplant if you aren't concerned with the size of her melons. So reach over to the nightstand and grab a pack of Tiny Dinger condoms trademarked. Don't let size anxiety ruin the romance. We now come in all micro sizes, colors, and textures. We also have a special offer just for you. Stay tuned until the end to find out more. Give her the most loving Valentine by grabbing a pack ribbed for her pleasure in your perfect teeny size. All sorts of flavors. You're sure to find one her taste buds will love as much as they love gliding up and down that rubber schlong. She won't even care if you keep your socks on. But don't believe me. Here's a word from our best customers.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, Big Trez 1K. Yes, it is true, about my sex organs and stuff like that, and I would just ignore it. Pictures that Messiaen already did revenge porn on me, which caused me to build my OnlyFans. Talk dirty. I don't know what else to say about it, about my sex organs. Yes, it is true, and there's going to be a lot coming out about it. My stuff.
I got sick and tired of dealing with my shit, embarrassing, totally humiliated by this dump that came out recently. And in a way, I was kind of relieved. I don't need to bore everyone with the details of how serious this is. It's a problem. It's a problem for me and tragic. He went over the whole thing. And I said, my work here is done. Negs and I are in love. Negs and I love each other. Negs, he's a liar. He's dangerous. He's a predator. I am involved with a dangerous white nationalist and a racist. That's what ghetto is. So you guys go ahead and have a laugh at my expense, but I'm not going to stand for it. And you guys can go fuck yourselves. Amazing. I'm not helping you, Negs.
Oh, no.
I'm going to ruin him.
Let me preface this. I am, for the first time, going to react to, women. I've never seen what it looks like down below. Going to do that in this campaign to learn more about this, women are women, men are men. But I'm going to press play. And we're going to see what it looks like. My heart is pounding in my chest. My heart is pounding in my chest right now. And I'm scared. I'm scared about what's going to happen next. I don't see anything yet. Sitting down, because it's so far down. Some smooth white skin. These. No, don't touch. Stop touching. Stop. No, don't touch. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm horrified. Stop it. Stop making those sounds. Stop making those. Oh God, I still have not seen what it looks like. What I see is an abomination of a vagina. I've always talked quite a bit, or not always, but talked quite a bit about how you can't just invert a penis. I obviously can't put it on the screen because it would be horrific, and YouTube wouldn't allow it. I'm going to...
What's up, guys? I just want to tell everyone Jason is fine, okay? And Jason is dealing with some things that he needs to go to the doctor for, and I've been aware of it for quite a while now. but we're fine. Yes, he says very shocking to people. I agree. There's what he's dealing with, you know, as his wife, as his best friend, and as his main supporter, as a partner, as a friend, as the person in his life. I'm making the decision to stay with him despite what other people are saying, because I realize he has his problems. You know, I look at it in a different way than what other people do. Don't take it to heart. I know it's my stuff. It doesn't work. You know what I mean?
The situation that we have going on. Nobody that you know, when I want to talk to everybody about the situation. So could you hook me up? First of all, I wanted to thank you guys. That helped. I appreciate you a lot. I always got to keep one bit of me thing, or it starts stalling out. It's weird. But this video is a very specific message that I want known to everybody that knows me and Shani, okay? Maybe it's true. People find it, and I'm sure it's trolls. So there's this craziness with a lot of people that like to. It was not a you know, this thing that should have blown up into what happened there was not right. Stop it. I take care of stuff, you know. And bless her, she does what she can do. Okay? She's my wife, and I love her with every bit of my being. Every bit of it. There's not one bit of me that doesn't just love her 1,000,000,000%. One bit of me, like, really weirdness. My position on it. It's like, you guys just stop it with that abusive shit towards one bit of me. He's a good boy. Or it starts stalling out. It's weird.
I know.
We're just on stream to pretty much just clarify what's going on. Amber came down the first night. I guess there was some drinking, alright? We cut the stream after like 4 hours or whatever. She said, I guess she didn't want to hook up with, like, whatever. We ended up hooking up, and I guess, you know, even she's upset about it.
I said no. I said no twice.
She's obviously very desperate.
Said no. I said no twice.
And she's upset about it.
Tiny Dinger condoms trademarked for the men who can't boss up. This helps get that little D up and rape those bitches. Remember, it's not really rape if she can't feel it. Grab your pack today for a whole 65% off until the end of the month. Located at
Walmart, Walgreens, Shoppers Drug Mart, Home Hardware, Rexall, Hartman's, your local CVS pharmacy, and in your favorite streamer's nightstand.
Happy Valentine's Day from Tiny Dinger Condoms. And don't forget to put one on so you don't breed Satan's spawn. Now, back to our regular programming. All right, guys. So that is my most requested video to play, apparently. But I did have someone come and ask me if I could make a Tiny Dinger condom ad that did not involve anyone in it, so that they didn't have to have drama with anyone, but they could still play the ad. And I was like, oh, we're at that point now? That sounds fun. I'm now making it so other people can play it. Okay. So as I stated before our fun with our sponsor, I have it's 13 minutes long, 13 actually, of a gentleman that is talking about travel in the God worlds, which I thought would be a really great way to kind of like end this on, because of the fact that we just went through the glossary and they were talking about all of the worlds. Also, I think everyone needs a break from Harold Klemp. He's a boring dude, but since he is the main one in this call, we obviously had to deep dive him. And honestly, at this point, I feel like we have a really good feel of who Harold is. So it is time to start diving into some of the other people. And we, of course, do have other Mahantas, I guess, that are doing similar seminars to Harold. And this is someone that, of course, was came up on one of the seminars to talk about this with several different people. So I think it's important that we listen to other people, how they talk about this, in order to really get a feel for what's going on here. So, travel in the God worlds.
I am so excited to be here, and this topic about traveling in the God worlds is near and dear to my heart. It's the reason I got into Eckankar.
It's the reason this guy got into Eck. So he's basically like, he doesn't care about worshiping God. He just thinks it's cool that you could soul travel.
When I grew up as a Catholic, and I had this desire just to know how it all worked. Is there a God? Is there a heaven? Is it all real? And I was desperate for these answers. And I was told to believe, and I was told to have faith, but I really wanted to know. And for me, there was a difference. And it actually became a problem for me when I was really little, because it was a problem for my parents and teachers and priests, because I was like, you can't prove the existence of God. You don't know how the universe is laid out, and you say you know what's best for me? I think not. So
yeah, and then you leave religion. This guy was like, and then I went and joined another cult where Harold Klemp and Paul Twitchell could tell me who I am and what I should do and what I believe. It was just the Catholics that were wrong, you see.
When you're 5, that's a problem. And so anyway, when I found Eckankar, it had...
I am going to say, though, I think a lot of us were similar. I also grew up in Catholic, as I've talked about a lot. And then, if you want to know, my priest, you can look it up. His name was Father Barrett from Napanee, Ontario. He was actually charged with molestation of the altar boys. Several people that I had actually gone to public school with, or knew, of course, because Napanee is very small. Don't ask me about Avril Lavigne, fuck off. And so because of that, my family kind of went, ooh, I don't know about this faith. I am a survivor of that myself, of child molestation, not by a priest, but it hit my family really hard due to that. They had a very hard time saying that they could go to a Catholic church and still kind of worship and know that this was going on. It had come out that he had been at other churches before he was in Napanee, and had done similar behavior. So I found out around the age of 12, 13 that the Vatican likes to hide sexual abuse. And that was a very big issue for me, of course, as a survivor of it as a child. I, of course, was like, I can't now support this place. I cannot. I refuse. And my parents kind of went through an existential religious crisis due to it for the same reason, of course. They had a very hard time with my abuse. My parents knew it was happening. I think so when I came out about it, they, it was a lot on our family. And so my parents obviously were also not okay with that behavior. They were always highly supportive to me over that happening to me. That's one thing I was very thankful for growing up, is that at least I had my parents' support no matter what for that. And I had it to the point where when this happened, like I said, my parents were also like, I don't know if I can go to Catholic church anymore now, because I cannot know that that kind of stuff is going on and ignore it and go to this Catholic church. And so around that age, I very much was like, okay, this stuff cannot be real. And then, of course, if you're analytical at all, and I'm a very analytical person, I analyze everything. You start to analyze the world, and you go, kind of like this guy said, is God real? How did our world become our world? And if you're like me, you start researching all of that stuff at a very young age, and you start questioning. And then I guess that's how I got here today. Even when I went on to YouTube, my first YouTube videos that I watched were that of people that were in religion that had just left religion. and they were kind of coming out and discussing like why they left and all of that kind of stuff. And that was like back in, oh God, like what, 2010 or some bullshit? I don't even know. It was a very long time ago. I've been on here for way too long. I want to jump off a bridge now. But yeah, those were my first. I came to YouTube to try to find out if I was the only person that was questioning religion and the world and how did our world start? How do people work? What is psychology? And I was pretty young. Um, so I understand this way of thinking. I just wish that this gentleman would have continued down that path and figured that out for himself, even if he did end up being a Christian or whatever, instead of joining Eckankar. Because I personally don't think that this is the answer. I think that soul travel is a trick. And I think that this man fell for it.
Had so many of the answers to all of my questions, and it wasn't about belief, it was about experience and knowing. And so I went to my first Eckankar introduction, and they taught me the hue, to sing hue, and then they said, listen for the sound, look for the light. And then they told me about soul travel, and I thought, wow, this is it, this is where I want to be, because if I could soul travel, I would know that there was something else. So tonight I want to talk to you a little.
And see, and that is the problem to me as well. The people that are seeking, that have questions in other religions, apparently this one comes and shows up and says, we have the answer. We will show you God is actually real. You can soul travel and you can see it for yourself. So this call preys on those people that are questioning their religion a bit. That's dangerous to me. Very dangerous.
A little bit about soul travel in the God worlds, and to do that, I'm going to juggle. So,
I mean, what? Okay.
I know, obviously. So I brought my box where I keep all my secrets.
His box. I have a box too, but it's not filled with secrets. Well, I mean, maybe.
Actually, not. And you see, when I first got into Eckankar, I wanted to know what the secret was. And I thought, I went to Eckankar seminars like this, and I thought, when I get, further along, I'll learn what the secret. They tell you the secret on the first day.
Yeah. See how exciting that is for people? They feel like when they first show up, they get in on the secret. Right? And then they feel like they're a part of that. They're a part of knowing the secrets of life.
Sing, Hugh, fill your heart with love, and off you go. Do your spiritual exercise. That's it. So anyway,
that's it. But now I'm going to juggle for you on stage, and I forced you to come out here to do a seminar. I had a couple of out-of-body experiences, but they had me thinking that when I was dreaming at night that my soul was traveling. They teach that soul travel begins with dream travel. Yes, they do. And then, of course, whenever you have a dream, they will tell you what your dream means. I actually have a whole book that explains what the dreams actually mean. So we're probably going to be deep diving that at some point because it's very easy to convince people, right, that want to believe in something like this, that when they are dreaming, they're actually like having real experiences and soul traveling. That's not a hard thing to kind of trick people with. And that's why it begins with dream travel, because most people dream. Right? Most of the time when you dream too, your dreams are based off of your thoughts and your feelings and what you did in the last few days, right? So a lot of time, and especially if you become someone that you can almost train yourself to remember your dreams more and that kind of thing. And I think that's what they're doing here. And then they're using that to say that that's soul travel. when really you're just having vivid dreams. Like a lot of people do. You're not traveling, you're just having vivid dreams. But it's easy for them to take that and use that as a manipulation tactic. And if you are looking and seeking for these answers, it's sometimes, especially in desperation, a lot of the people that end up here, they're going through a crisis in their life. When they do, cults tend to prey on people when they're the most vulnerable, when they're seeking, right? When they want to know more about themselves and they're in kind of a vulnerable state. So it's very okay, maybe this person has all the answers. And then if you show up to a seminar on the first day of this thing and they go, here are the answers, you are immediately made to feel like you're in on something special, right? Now you know some secret, and then you want to be a part of that. And especially if you're younger and you're really seeking to find yourself and you're like, 18, you want to be a part of something. And this gives you something you can be a part of. And like he says, apparently it doesn't take up much of your time. It does. Like it's a lot like an MLM that says that they don't, but then you are supposed to do like a couple hours a day of stuff. So whatever. But I can see how someone could fall into this thing very easily. And this guy kind of shows you that as not Harold, because we haven't watched a lot of people that are not Harold, right? So it's interesting to see how the other people in this are manipulated and how they got here and what they believe. And he juggles. So there's that.
So for the purposes of this talk, I want you to imagine that I'm soul, and I am soul, just like all of you. But I mean, for the purpose of this, my physical body, we're going to pretend that I'm soul. And
yeah, because the soul is not your physical body, but your soul, I'm soul, he's soul, she's soul, we're all soul. Soul is also God. This is what I mean. Soul is just apparently everything.
This green ball is my physical body.
Okay. So wait, your physical body is soul, and then that green ball is your body. Okay, I got it. So you're the spirit, and then that is the flesh, if you will.
So I'm soul, I got one of these. This is an important distinction in Eckankar, because some people think that this is you and you have one of these. But really, you're soul and you have a physical body, and you need the physical body to interact with physical things. And soul has no problem running that physical body. And if you want to see if you can pay attention to where the little green ball is going and what it's doing. So check this out.
This guy really just failed at clown college, and he wanted a reason to juggle on stage.
Did you see what I did with the two white balls when the green was in the air? No, because if you keep all your attention on the physical, you miss other things.
See what he did there?
Okay. When it was up there, I switched the balls around. You didn't miss much. So, before I even found Eckankar, I knew about dreams, and I thought there was probably a heaven. I didn't know much about it, but I learned in Eckankar that we have not just a physical body, but we have a dream body or an astral body, which represents this pink ball.
All right, so now you have all kinds of different bodies. Are you following? So let me know if you got lost, because it's very easy to do here.
All right, so soul has both of these. All right.
So you have your dream body, your physical body, and then your soul, your spirit.
All right, and it has no problem running both bodies at the same time. It's just a matter of where you put your attention. So a lot of times during the day, we're putting our attention on the physical, and then when we're sleeping at night, then we have our attention on the astral plane and in the dream world. So the other thing is in Eckankar, like I learned, when you die, when you lose this one, you just hang out here, right? Until you get another one of these. And for
I know. it is funny because it sounds ridiculous. They're laughing though because they're like, "Ha, this guy's so funny the way he's putting this." I'm laughing because this sounds ridiculous. You just hang out in your dream body until another physical body comes along, like on a conveyor belt, you know? It's like we have a god out here that's just pumping out physical bodies so that souls could jump in them and then go use them on earth to then live a life where all they do is praise and sing you and dream to then go back into their dream body and travel around in different worlds. Okay, little like Scientology and Nexium, but okay.
Most people, this is what they do. It's just this is it.
Well, he like so talented. He can juggle 2 balls with one hand as a juggler.
Well, you die and come back and die and come back, and after a number of lifetimes, you find Eckankar. And then that's what I found is that there's so much more. We have more of these physical bodies, and there's more of these worlds than I ever imagined.
See, and what worries me about this is imagine telling like someone younger this, or like someone like, for example, my daughter. She is on the spectrum. She doesn't feel pain very well. So you tell her that she has several bodies she can choose from. She might not care about the one she's in right now. Imagine thinking that you just have an endless supply of bodies and how that could kind of affect you and how you treat your body in this life. You know, like it's a worrisome message to people because not everyone will take it in a positive way. You hope they will, I guess, but you can't guarantee it. And that's worrisome.
So if you come back enough times, those are your past lives. And there's a place that kind of keeps a record of those past lives, and that's the causal plane. And that represents this orange ball. And this is a plane of karma. Well, it's a plane of like past lives and memories and things like that. And so cause and effect really is what it's all about. And so a soul has these bodies. And this is an interesting thing in Eckankar because I always thought soul travel, I first thought like I would just leave my body and go places and I would zoom around, I'd move around. But really soul travel is about putting your attention on these different bodies. It's just becoming aware of them. And in Eckankar, we have a spiritual leader, the Mahanta, the living Eckmaster. He's a soul just like you and me, but he's able to be aware of all of his bodies at the same time.
Yeah, and that is Harold Klemp. Do you believe that the man that you've been watching me react to, and the man who wrote the books that I've been reading, could be perfectly aware of every single body? I mean, maybe that's why he pauses so much. He's just concentrating on 10 different bodies at all times. You know, it must be difficult.
And in a sense, soul just has, it evolves to a greater state of consciousness, and he's evolved to the point where he can work with everybody. But that's where we're all headed as well. So there's more than just these 3 bodies. There's also another one. It's your mental body.
Oh, God.
And that represents this blue ball. The mental body is kind of where thoughts and ideas come from. A lot of people say, well, my brain is where thoughts and ideas come from. And my understanding is it's like your brain interprets all these other things from everywhere else down into this physical body. So I'm going to try and juggle all 4 of these. Now, again, soul has no problem running all these bodies all at once. Mick, on the other hand.
Okay, Mick.
Okay, there we go. So all these bodies I'm talking about, these are inner bodies. And the reason we say inner bodies, they're not like inside you. It's not like it's in your tummy. If you do surgery, oh, look, there's this mental body. But the reason they're inner bodies is they're not out there.
Right. So your thoughts and ideas come from blue balls? Yeah, for a man, maybe. For a man. But also, I just have an issue with them stating that, yeah, all of your thoughts and all of your memories are actually coming from this thing outside of you. Like, once again, one of my issues with religion is that you don't get to take credit for anything in your life. When something good happens, it's God that did it for you. If something bad happens, it's God that's going to fix it for you. Just leave it up to God, as they say. So it's like lack of accountability for people that do believe, in my opinion, because they can kind of just get out of accountability and say, oh, well, it was God. God controls me in my life. I have all these astral bodies that are actually controlling me. My thoughts are not my own now all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up where you are taught that your thoughts and ideas and everything very much come from you. And now I feel like people are now being taught that they come from other things or that they don't have control over them. Even in terms of being triggered, let's say, fuck, you could get triggered, you could control that shit. I don't know why we have trigger warnings all over the place to help protect people. Or like people think that people like me that have a trauma we're just weak. You know, we need warning labels on things. People with us trauma disorders that actually get triggered, you know, you got to warn us so that we know. Because when we clicked on the link in the video that you said that said this person got murdered, I wasn't aware that I was going to see violence. Because I mean, with my trauma disorder, I must also be really fucking dumb. So I need a whole warning to like warn me speak because I'm not in control of my thoughts. They just come from this ball, I guess. See? Things like this piss me off. I am in control of my thoughts and my ideas, and I am also in control of my emotions, and I am in control of my memories and my mind. I can get control of all those things. Even with a mental health issue, guess what? It doesn't control me. I fucking control it. That's right. That's where you got to get in your life. And see, if you're someone like me that had to spend a lot of time getting to a place like that in my life, as I said in a previous video, I think it was the one where we were doing the quiz there on Wednesday, actually. I said I used to think life happened to me, and it took me a little bit to realize that I control my life. I control my thoughts. I control my feelings. I can get control even over triggers when they happen. Over an anxiety attack, I can control it. I can come back from it. I am in control. And then I see something like this, and I kind of go, geez, if I was in this thing, like that would be a slap in the face to me. Like, hey, girl, you just spent like 15 years in counseling getting control over your thoughts and your minds and your whole body, too, by the way. And now you're being told that it's actually all these souls and bodies in different planes that actually control you. And it's this way of thinking that, again, worries me. I'm kind of like, do we want people to think that they don't have control over their mind? It's actually like some, yeah, like blue ball somewhere, some body on the mental plane, like hanging out on a plane, you know, and getting the peanuts and then throwing thoughts out at me. I don't actually have a brain that thinks of anything up on my own. I'm just being controlled by all my past lives. Again, as someone with a trauma disorder, that sort of thing worries me. Should never let that be the case.
Somewhere. If you travel in space and you keep going, you're still in the physical world. So it's
Wow.
not out there. That's why they call them inner bodies. They're higher states of consciousness. And you have a corresponding body for each one of these different planes. And soul travel is just about paying attention, tuning in to those different ones. So there's one more. And this one is the etheric body. And it's kind of like the subconscious. And it's the last plane and the last body that you have in the lower worlds. And so they kind of, well, I'm holding them in a stack. But they're not really in a stack like this.
I was like, he's not really holding them. He's kind of almost dropping them, but okay.
But it's a way of thinking about it. And everything I'm talking about tonight is just a way of looking at this, a way of thinking about it. And it's not like official, you won't find this in any of the Eckankar books. Not any of the ones I've read anyway, but it's just a way of thinking about it. So I'm going to try and juggle all 5 of these balls at the same time. And don't applaud yet, I didn't do it. So it's going to happen fast. Meaning, like, once I start applauding right away, because it may not last long. Okay, see, I threw that one and no one. So, like, I mean, right away. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Oh, sorry, that was false start.
False start. Sir, did you not practice this show before you went on stage? Maybe that's why he flunked out of clown college.
That's again.
By the way, he didn't actually go to clown college. I'm just joking about that before you all go and start Googling this man to go and prove me wrong that he never went to clown. You guys are crazy out here on the interwebs. I can't say anything without someone going, oh my God, she said this, and then going off somewhere to cause problems. So no, he did not actually go to clown college. You don't gotta go Google this guy and his whole career. It's a joke. Remember jokes? Okay, cool. Continuing on.
I'm going to pause just for a second.
Okay.
So they can edit that out later.
Ew.
Okay, I'm going to juggle 5 balls for the first time.
It's really not the first time. He actually did it last night, too. Booyah!
Okay, thank you. So these are what they call the bodies of the lower worlds. There's higher worlds, and above this one is the soul plane, the soul body. You are soul that has all these bodies. And one of my questions was, why can't we just have it all now? Why do we got to go through all this, right? To become aware, because we only get to be aware of little bits as we evolve. So why can't we have it all now? And my understanding is it's a little bit like this. We're children of God. We're souls. We're sparks of God, and we channel the God power as soul, and that's a very powerful thing. So we actually need training and experience before they turn us loose on the universe. Like, you don't hand the car keys to a 5-year-old. You don't give a 3-year-old a welding torch. You can do cool things with a welding torch, but you don't want to give it to a little kid. So we come down to these lower worlds to get experience. And one of the things about soul travel, like I said, it's about...
I mean, they also needed a reason why they could charge you money to go to all these seminars in order to work your way through all of this, right? If they just gave it all to you now, how the hell are they going to get their tax exemptions and make money off of all of you and then get all of the power and the worship that they want? Jeez, come on now, man. You should know how this works.
Becoming aware.
I feel like this guy was also in several multi-level marketing companies before he ended up here.
Of these different bodies. And as we evolve, we get a chance to see more and more of those worlds. And it's all about putting your attention in those places. And if you want to learn how to do it, it's all over in the works of Eckankar. Like I said, the secret is out there. There's so many books that talk about how to go about this. But there's more than just these bodies. After you hit the soul plane,
oh God,
which is the highest one, there's really no end to it. And the reason that we go through all this and all these experiences is because we're actually gaining experience to play the greatest game that's ever been conceived.
Okay.
And that is, how much love can you accomplish? How much love can you give? How much love can you receive? How much love can you take in and give out? That's really what it's all about. And that is everywhere.
How much love can you take in and give out? That's really what it's all about. You should write a rap song about it next. Then you can really get the youth to join.
In the Act Works, the secret to soul travel is filling yourself with love.
Okay, so you just fill yourself with love and then go to bed and hope that you travel to the plane that you need to go to, or you concentrate on the plane you want to go to. Sounds sus, but continue on. Now we just have white balls. I don't think Eckankar is about making money. I think it's about mass mental illness, and Harold Klemp really believes his own garbage. I don't think that the main goal is making money, but they do make money off of people at these seminars and everything, right? And with selling the books, They have the Eckankar band, and they sell their songs and that kind of thing. And I do also think that there is some mental illness here, and I do think that it's a lot to do with Harold's. Sometimes I wonder if Harold just never had real love in his life, never had real friends. So he was like, I think this would be good for me. I'll just run this thing. After Paul Twitch here dies, I'll just take it over.
Expanding your consciousness to see more of these that are higher up.
Imagine working, okay, like just imagine this. So you work your whole life in this Eckankar thing. Let's say that, you joined it when you were 18. Like Chappell said that he joined when he was 18. Imagine you do all of these courses, if you will. You learn how to do all of the soul traveling, if you will, right? So you are now soul traveling to all of the different worlds that he just talked about, right? You've been to the astral plane, you've been to the casual plane, you've been to the mental plane. You have done all of it. You finally work your way up, like he says, to the soul plane. And you're kind of like, yeah, this is the last level, just like when you're in an MLM and you make it up to the diamond, the black diamond Pikachu status, And you're like, yeah, I just made it. Hello, Iconic. Look at Iconic. Yeah, just made it. Nice eggs, dude. Seriously though, imagine you're like, yes, I just got to soul. I've done this journey. And then this asshole is like, no, actually, you have like 10 more worlds that you have to get through. I know that you just spent your whole life working up to the soul, like plane here, from the astral, from the physical, from all those. You worked your way up. You were told that when you work your way up, you get to be a Mahanta as well. But guess what? We actually lied. Once you get here, there are thousands of worlds to go and soul travel to. Like, I would be pissed. I'd be like, what do you mean? Like, you told me that this was the last one, that I had made it. I think I'd be so mad if I got there and then they were like, yeah, no, there's actually a whole bunch more after this that you now have to work through. Also, by the way, please give me $159.99 for a quick webinar.
So I brought 6 of these balls out. This is actually more than I can juggle.
We found out he couldn't juggle 5. Not really sure why he chose to go with this, but okay. It's like when you hit max level with good gear on an MMO and they come out with a new expansion. Yes, and you're like, why did you just do that to me? You assholes. I just got here. I worked so hard for this, and then just blows up in your face, right? They're like, actually, now you need all this other stuff to do it. Ha ha! It's like, what the hell, man? They do
It's not
look
going to
like
stop
that.
me from trying. But
I mean, the one thing you can say about this guy is at least he has some determination.
so I'm going to, I got to try and throw all these up and at least just catch them once. It may take a couple of tries. And the last thing I want to say about Eckankar, the thing I love about it so much, the first time I went to an Eckankar event, I saw someone dancing. And I thought, this is so wonderful, because the church I went to was very somber and sad. In Eckankar, there's so much.
See, and that's another thing, too, actually, that I even remember thinking when I went from going to Catholic church to going to, like, just Christian church camp. It was so much fun. When I was in Catholic church, I would have to, like, just listen to some guy, like, read out of the Bible, and then, you stand, you kneel, you sit, you stand, you kneel, you sit, you do the Father, Son, Holy Spirit shit, and then you stand, you kneel, and you sit, and then again, you do the Father, Son, Holy Spirit shit, and it's just that over and over again, and especially for people that are young and kids, because I did that my whole childhood. Literally boring as hell. Even like Catholic, like study groups, let's say, for kids are boring, 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 boring. And then I went to Christian church camp, and people were like singing and dancing. They were like, I said, Pharaoh, ooh, baby, let my people. And I was like, this is more fun. I like this. I can sing and dance to songs. about God, that's way more fun than standing and kneeling and sitting and doing the Holy Father, Son, and Ghost shit, okay? And way more fun. So again, I can understand like having that feeling of being in a Catholic church, you find it really boring, and then you come here to Eckankar, and people are like singing and dancing, and they're happy, and you see a different type of worship. Dude, there's Christians that will just do that, and you don't have to do any soul travel. You could just go believe in God. You could go to a church with a minister, dance until your hearts come out, sing Jesus Lover of My Soul, which is my favorite Christian song again, and have a great time. You do not need to join this Eckankar call and do all this soul travel stuff, you know? It's frustrating. But I can see, I can kind of relate to that feeling of, wow, this is a fun church compared to mine. They stole a year of my life I wasted volunteering at the seminars and forming relationships doomed for failure because I needed healing from childhood trauma myself. And do you know what? That's another thing that mental health gets lost in all of this, right? If you do have mental health issues here, let's say from childhood trauma, they tell you that that's from a past life and that you just got to work it out by, again, just traveling to these soul planes. But you're not actually doing like the real healing that's needed. You're just masking it more. And to me, honestly, a real good religion, if you still wanted to be religious, would help you heal from the childhood trauma instead of just kind of ignoring it and being like, oh, I came from a past life. You just got to work through it by doing these exercises. It's, they should probably also tell you to go to counseling, which I don't think they really do here. Instead, it's like, go see Harold Klemp. He's the Eckmaster, and he'll tell you how to be well. And well, we've all seen how he gives advice.
Much joy, and I wanted to serve. And I didn't know how to dance, and I didn't know how to play instruments. This is all I got.
But he can juggle, ladies and gentlemen, yay!
But my point is that every single person, every soul has a unique way that they can give love, that they can serve, that they can expand their consciousness to see all these worlds. And it never ends. And a soul above the soul plane, you don't need to take any more bodies on. There aren't any more bodies. You just grow in consciousness. But it never ends.
Oh man, it never ends. So again, you think that you're working your way up to go and be a coworker to God, get closer to God, and then when you get to soul, they're like, actually, this crap never ends, ever. You have to keep working now to reach more. But don't worry, you don't need any more bodies. I guess that's good, because by this point, someone with serious mental health issues is going to have dissociative identity disorder possibly from this crap. I won't even lie to you. It sounds a little sus. But you just have to become more aware in your consciousness. Like, okay, thanks so much. It's never ending. So then that means I'll never be close to God. I'll never be a coworker with God, which is then the whole reason why we're here to begin with in this religion. So where is the end, right? How do you become, I guess, Harold Klemp? And the answer is you can't, because there's only one living Eckmaster.
But I know there's at least 6 more.
At least.
So I'm going to try and do this.
Good luck.
That's
sir.
all right. I'll edit that out.
No, we did not. We say all of this.
I'm just warming up.
Not very good for you.
So 6 is 3 in each hand.
We yeah, that's
at the same time.
That's what we.
Maybe I should just stop there. So before I do this, one other thing is, if you're new to Eckankar and you want to find out more about these God worlds, there's information about it everywhere in the Eckankar works. And if you're considering whether
And what's funny about the information is that they don't really explain it much like this. This is actually one of the best examples I have seen of explaining how this works. I've tried to explain how it works. It's very confusing. And it's like that on purpose so that you can never fully understand all of it, right? You can't understand all of it unless you become Harold Klemp, the living Eckmaster. He's the only one that can have all these consciousnesses going at the same time and have full understanding of it. So basically, all these people end up chasing being Harold Klemp, the Eckmaster, the cult of this leader, but none of them will be able to until he passes away. And then when he passes away, he's probably chooses someone to take over for him. Now, next time we talk about this, we're going to get into how he became a little bit deeper because we're going to be talking about Paul and we're going to be talking about how this all came to be again, deep diving in a little bit more because we kind of did that at the beginning, but not a good enough job because it was just kind of a little intro to everything. So now we need to actually deep dive it and talk about how it was that Harold Klemp even became the Mahanta to begin with. Because I think that now that we know how this process all goes, right? We've read several of the books. I have lots of videos and streams about this now, where we've read the books, we've gone through most of the belief systems they have, and now we have this kind of example. So now I think it's important we kind of go back and go, okay, so how did we get to all this? And as we're hearing, there's no end point. So it's very much like an MLM where you're just chasing a dream forever, trying to climb up a ladder, if you will, to get to these different planes, to have these different bodies in the soul travel, to obtain some status that you probably won't be able to maintain because, as he said, it just keeps going on forever, what's necessary and what's needed for it. Because, again, there can only be one living Eggmaster. So they got to keep you hooked and doing this until you think that you could possibly be one of the Eckmasters when Harold passes away. And then, boy, do they ever drop the bomb when, the Mahanta steps up. And I am very worried about the next one. Harold's up there. He's not going to be with us for much longer. Let's be real.
Is something you want to take on, my personal recommendation is do it. It's a path of joy. It's a path of love. It's a path of experience and a path of knowing. Thank you. All right, here we go.
Yes, joining Eck gives you all the joy, all the experience, all the knowledge, and all the love. That's what they want you to believe. Now watch this man juggle.
I'm just going to take that. Thank you, everybody.
Yay! Yeah.
Enjoy your journey.
Woo. Yeah, enjoy your journey. Off stage. Go. Bye. Yeah, so like I said, that is the best video I've ever been able to find that kind of explains this in a way that I feel like all of you guys are going to get this now. If you were a little bit confused through our book readings and through my other streams, you are supposed to be. They don't tell you all of this information at once. They make you go through and search it out, if you will. And then, like he's kind of says here, you are to get your own interpretation of it and your own way. I mean, not everyone has the same past lives. Not everyone has the same journey. And it appears that there isn't even like one way.
I'm excited to be here. And
there isn't even one way to do this soul traveling or anything else. It's kind of like you do it how you can do it, So it's really, really worrisome to me. There are different levels of initiation. I was a 3rd level initiate. 5th and above is the inner circle. There are rumors of real bad abusive things happening in the inner circle. Yes, there are. And we're going to get into all of that as well in future because that's what scares me about this. And this is why I keep comparing Eckankar to Nexium. Because there is an inner circle at the end. And no one really knows what's going on. But there have been some people that have kind of spoken out and left, like I said, that are like, listen, this thing's a little creepy. Right? That's a very Eastern religion thing. You're always on the journey, but never arriving, right? Exactly. It keeps the customers coming back. But yeah, you're talking about the birthplace of karma and reincarnation. Yes, that is exactly it. And that's what I mean is worrisome with this is that it seems like when you first join, you get the idea that you can make it to the soul trade. And even in all of my readings and everything that I look at about this, I have actually sat down and watched like all of the Harold Klemp videos that you can possibly get your hands on. And it's never like fully explained to you. Like that gentleman just did an amazing job of kind of explaining it. Like I said, that's the most I can find of it. Even on their websites, the explanation is very general, right? They never fully get into it deeply. And it's in parts, as I've said. So you'll find out a little bit in this book that he wrote, and then you'll have to get another book that he wrote. And oh, yeah, by the way, most of the books cost money. I'm getting them for free because people have bought them, and then now I'm at the point where people are sending them to me. They're like, "Here, look at this one. This one's crazy. You ever want to read something Harold Klemp wrote? That's fucking nuts. Read this one. Oh, hey, Queen, here's the Paul Twitchell one. That's the real one. You're gonna want to read through." And I'm like, "Thanks. Cost $20 on Amazon, but so thank you." And that's what I mean. You are meant to buy all of these books. You're meant to go to all of these seminars, a lot of them which cost money. They do have some free ones for their Hue worship, but then the ones that actually train you often cost money, right? And they do keep you on this journey. They almost trick you into believing that you will get to the soul level, and then there you go, you did it. But then it's like, no, actually, there's a whole bunch of other stuff you have to do. And you can't actually arrive there yourself because, as I stated, the only person who is allowed to even is Harold Klemp. So it's kind of not fair to give off the impression that other people could work towards this status when you can't, as long as that man is alive. And then we have to look at, well, what will happen when Harold Klemp does go? Who do we think the next Mahanta will be? And I think in order, like I said, to figure all that out, we got to rewind time and go back, take a deep dive look into Polly, good old Polly Twitchell there. Polly Twitch is what I call him for short because, again, I have to make fun of him. He's a character too. If you thought Harold Klemp was a character, boy, just wait till next Friday. I'll show you an interesting one. And we have to kind of go back, see how this thing came to be, see how he himself became the so-called Eckmaster Mahanta, and then kind of dive into Harold himself and how he became it so we can kind of understand the last little piece of this. Because I feel like now, like I said, we have a pretty good understanding of the different levels of initiation, as I guess they're called, and the different soul worlds. We understand what they believe. We understand, what they tell other people to believe. We understand that most of their problem solving is just to do a spiritual exercise, which most of the time starts or ends in singing Hue. Hue seems to be the goddamn answer for everything. You get in a car accident, just sing Hue. You stub your toe, sing Hue. Your wife left you, sing Hue. It will all be okay. Don't worry. Just sing Hue and get closer to God. And then do this little spiritual exercise where you just think about how you're a loser and how you'll never actually get closer to God. Maybe try to remember a past life or something. And then bing, bang, boom, you should be okay. Like I said, that's worrisome belief system to me. So next Friday, we are going to be diving into Paul Twitchell, like I said, and how he became the Mahanta, how Harold Klemp then became the Eckmaster and everything. And then we're going to have a little talk about what we think is going to happen in future with the Eckmasters. And then after that, I think we are going to have a lot more fun just kind of reacting to some of this. And I do want to go through Stephen Hassan's bite model. And we are going to be talking about Eckankar on the bite model because a lot of people are at me about how this is not a cult. Queen, you just like came out here as a non-cult expert, which I would consider myself a cult expert after 5 years of studying them publicly, 30 years studying them privately. I'm just saying. But they say, how do you figure Eckankar is a cult? You need to prove that it's a cult before you just go calling it a cult, Queen. And I'm like, okay, I will. I will. But again, in order to do that, I do think that we have to understand Paul Twitchell and how it all came to be a little bit more so that then when I'm talking about the bite model and we are talking about this and the bite model and comparing it and discussing, we're going to go through all of the ways that you see if something's a cult and we're going to compare it with Eckankar and then you guys will fully get a great understanding of this thing, how it came to be, what they're doing now, and why it's a cult. Not just because I think so, but based on how we discover what a cult is on all the different models. There's a few of them, and I will use all of them to make my point. So that is all I have for you today. I hope that this was good enough for you guys and that you all had a decent time going through this with me. I think it was nice to have a little break from Harold Klemp talking at the end and to hear someone else. At least he was fun, right? He even juggled for us. So guys, please do give this a like, share it around. It does help the channel out. And right now, my main goal is just to spread awareness about things like Eckankar, things like how Kate, Modern Alternative Mama, is now posting often on her freaking Earthly Wellness website. She is back! She is back with video! And I was handed the lol cow by Jeff Holiday himself, so that's my job now. I am to cover Modern Alternative Mama. Yay me. So we have to dive into that in future as well. And I have an Andrew Tate stream coming up. Don't be worried about me, guys. I already have all the incels stalking me. So, I mean, you were supposed to worry about me for 3 years. None of you worried. You were all like, she'll be fine with all of them stalking. She'll be good. And then as soon as I'm about to bring up Andrew Tate, a bunch of you go, hey, Queen, you should be careful because Andrew Tate. I'm over here like, I'm already dealing with Andrew Tate people for 3 years. What do you mean? I'll be okay. Don't worry about me. We all know I ain't scared of shit. No one's going to stop me from doing anything. This channel ends up going down, I'll just go start another one. I don't care. I'm here to spread the word about cults and to try to stop them. And that's my main goal. So no matter where you are, what you're doing, I hope that you all have a fabulous rest of your day. We have a long weekend. So my kid didn't have to go to school today and she doesn't have to go Monday because it's family day. So I'm going to go spend the rest of my weekend with my family, have a sleepover with the kiddo, and I probably won't be around much this weekend. For those of you on Discord and other social medias that like to talk to me, don't expect to see me too much. But I will catch you all probably on Tuesday because, again, Monday's a holiday, and I think I got enough videos out here that I deserve to take some time off now. I am stopping the hustle culture over here. So have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Mwah. Bye! And remember, don't join a fucking cult. Okay, thank you.